Hello and welcome to Odds Now, where in this video we're going to be previewing the 2025 World Matchplay Dart starting in Blackpool this Saturday, the 19th of July. And for me, the most pure tournament out there, the top 16 in the world rankings, the top 16 in the Pro Tour rankings, leg format, 8 days of action. Yeah, really bang looking forward to this one. And it really kicks off, as we say every year, it kicks off the business end of the dart season, which is loaded towards the back end of the year, culminating in that small tournament around Christmas time. I've got Matt Hill with me, who will give you all the betting info you need, top tipster on darts. And Matt, how are you looking forward to this one?
Yeah, good. Always looking forward to the match play. I'd agree with you. I actually think it's probably the highest quality tournament you get all year in terms of the field. There's no weak links there. There's 16 top ranked players in the world, 16 best players on the Pro Tour that aren't already in the top 16 in the world. So you've got the informed boys, you've got the tried and tested. There's very few stragglers get through this. I mean, there's probably 2 or 3 players you could say are out of form in this entire field. And what it means is, unlike the World Championship, you've got bang quality from round one. Every game is a tough game to call. You're not really getting any. I mean, I think probably the Humphreys and Littler games, you've maybe got 4 or 5 to 1 outsiders, but everything other than that is really priced competitively. I've got to be honest, there's a betting proposition that makes it harder for me. I mean, I try to exploit market areas where the players aren't that well known and stuff. So, maybe I'm going to have more joy on like European Tour or a Pro Tour. I don't know. But that is counteracted slightly by there's a lot of liquidity in the market. Everybody's up. Everybody's being competitive. So there are prices to be found if you look hard enough. And as a tournament, thoroughly looking forward to it. I think it's got an open look to it as well.
Well, we'll start with the outright betting as we usually do. And if you're here on Odds Now YouTube channel, thanks for joining us. I'm guessing you already know that Luke Littler is going to be around your 2-1 favourite and Luke Humphreys is going to be around your 4-1 second favourite. You don't really need me to tell you that. So I'm going to throw you a slight curveball to start with, Matt. Michael van Gerwen, when I logged on to Oddschecker today to look at this market, is 18-1 to win this tournament. I have never, ever seen him at such a big price. So for those that might not have had a bet on the darts since the Worlds, that might not have had a bet on the darts this year, are tuning into this. They get their odds up on their bookmaker website or the odds comparison website. Michael van Gerwen is 18-1. What is the story there?
Well, the story is one that I think we've kind of, probably the last 4 or 5 majors that we've covered, we've kind of said, God, look at Van Gerwen's price. It's 10-1. Look at it. It's 12-1. And it just keeps going out and out and out. And there's a reason for that. It's because he ain't winning majors and he ain't winning much at the minute, to be honest. He's had a really, really bad time of it on and off the hockey. For those who don't know, he's gone through quite a public divorce in the last couple of months, which resulted in him taking a few weeks off. He came back for the US Darts Masters, the World Series event. I thought he looked okay in his opener before losing his second round game, but the subsequent performances haven't been great. Anyone who watches Van Gerwen now and compares it side by side with his throw of 5 years ago, you'll see a hell of a lot of differences. There's a lot of shoulder in there. He's really having to work hard with the lean and the balance. And it just means that an inconsistent release, it makes it very, very hard. If he's not, I think what you get with Van Gerwen is you can kind of tell early. If he's playing well early, he can continue it. If he's not, he really, really struggles to find his range. And I mean, he can have really, really bad performances in the locker at the moment. And it makes it hard to trust him to win the tournament, hence 18-1. On the flip side of that, this is one of the most dominant players we've ever seen in the Winter Gardens. It's only 3 years ago he was beating Gerwyn Price 18-14 in one of the best finals that I've watched. And you could say the price is borderline disrespectful, particularly when he plays Raymond van Barneveld in round one. Not the worst tie in the world for him to get started. But it's that lack of consistency that has resulted in MVG drifting in this market. I mean, we could easily see somebody go up 20-1, which is just, crazy in the grand scheme of darts. But I think I have to say it is right. I mean, he's 18-1. I'm still not that tempted to back him. That probably tells you all you need to know.
Well, I was, to be honest, because like you said, that first round game against Barney, who might be the worst player in this field. And then, he could play his way into. It's not the deepest of quarters, that one, although obviously Gerwyn Price is in there, his favourite. We're going to come on to Josh Rock, who's banging form. Actually, we'll go there now, Matt, to be honest, because I just think Josh Rock's been a different animal this year. straight up different animal. One of a few who we know have got the talent to win a big one. Of course they are. There's a few of them. They've got that raw talent. They're yet to kick on to the top table and win a major. I'm thinking Dirk, Ross Smith, Van Veen, who is younger, even Dobie to an extent. I don't count the Masters as a major. So in and around that group of players, they've got talent to win a proper major. They just haven't yet. And Rock is ready now. That World Cup win with Daryl Gurney looks to have done him the world of good. He's ripping it up on the Pro Tour, and he's available at 16-1. I know I'm leading you in there, but I genuinely do fancy him as well.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going in with Josh Rock, then I can make it very easy. He'd be my first bet for this outright market. 16-1 is probably the threshold for me. I wouldn't want to be backing him any shorter. He's still obviously got a bit to prove in terms of going and winning a major. He's looking for his first major, so nerves are always going to be an issue there when somebody's chasing their first major title. But look at the way he's playing for a consistent period. Like you say, it's not like a good few weeks. This is 6 months now where Rock has been phenomenal. He had the talent from the minute we saw him get his card. I mean, we were backing him at 3 figures to win Pro Tours when he'd literally just appeared on the scene. He was that good. I've always had the belief in him. My belief wavered towards the back end of last year because I felt like he wasn't quite fulfilling his potential. I remember a Gary Anderson rant about the media crucifying him and not letting him just go away and develop. Perhaps the rise of Luke Littler has benefited Rock there in that he's just sort of faded into the background for a period. He's been able to work on his game, work on himself. Whatever he's doing this year is working. He's playing so well. The scoring phase in that World Cup of Darts was like nothing I have ever seen before. I think if you actually go and drill down into the individual numbers, given it's a pairs tournament, so you get like a pairs average at the end of a game, go and look at Rock's first 9 for those games. We're talking 120 something on multiple occasions. He just could not miss the treble 20. And that's scary for anybody to face that. And the more scary thing is he's continued that on the Pro Tour, on the European Tour. It's not a flash in the pan with Rock. We're finally seeing this ability come to light and come to consistent fruition. The worry, I always felt his Achilles heel was the doubles, chasing the doubles around the board, 3 in hand at 32, going inside the 16, inside the 8, inside the 4, just rushing himself a little bit. I think the temperament is improving there as well. I really fancy him in the big moments now where I didn't.
Close it down a bit.
6 months ago. Yeah, he maybe isn't getting himself as emotionally involved in these matches. Still prone to the odd, celebration when he needs it. But I think he is very much focused on the job in hand now. I just think there's so many ticks in the box for Rock coming into this. He's not exactly been unfound in the market. He's fourth favourite above Michael van Gerwen, but that's with good reason. I think you're getting a player here who is in the form of his life, has the talent to win multiple majors, future world champion for my money. And we could be looking at this in a month's time when Rock's won the match play, and he might be single figures for the world championship. Quite very, very feasible. So I'm more than happy to still put him up at 16-1. I took a bit of 25s myself. I know people don't want to hear that after timing, but it was inevitable to me that money was going to come for Rock after that World Cup. I just thought there's no way he's going to go off 25s for the match play. And I still think at 16s, you're getting a very, very live runner there. So I'm going to put Josh Rock up as a really solid bet here.
If you just go on Darts Oracle and just saw averages since January the 1st this year, he's third, Josh Rock.
Yeah.
Littler first, Humphrey second. No surprises there. Josh Rock in at third there. The other one I wanted to give you, Pyman, and I think I'm going to bet, is Bunting. And I'm certainly not a Bunting mental titanium hype train goer. I never have been, really. But he is simply one of the best players in the world nowadays. And he's added that consistency to his game in the last 18 months, I think. I don't think he's got much to fear in his quarter, relatively speaking, to the other quarters. Bunting is in quarter 2 there. Ryan Joyce, first game up, winnable. Gary Anderson, Luke Woodhouse, Jonny Clayton, Schindler, Chisnell, Dedeker. I think, he could have had tougher draws. All good players on their day, of course, as we said at the top of the show. I could see him making the semi-final for sure, Bunting, possibly where Humphreys awaits. And with the Blackpool crowd, it is borderline a home game for Bunting, borderline close. I think the crowd are going to be bang behind him, and I think he could beat any of these on his day. But Humphreys, I think you'll see that as a winnable game. I could see Bunting going pretty deep in this.
Okay, let me give you some pros and cons, because I agree. I think on bare form, I think he is playing as well as anybody at the moment, consistently getting to finals, consistently beating those in and around him. He's had some great performances on the World Series where he's won a couple of titles already. He's won on the floor. He's beaten he's beaten Littler Humphreys this year, which is good for the confidence. My fall down with Stephen Bunting is when it comes to a PDC major, and I'm not including the Masters in this, like you, I think that's Mickey Mouse. When it comes to, there's been world championships in recent times where he's come in with a good draw, banging form, started well, and there's just a performance that is so flat, normally against one of the big names. So for me, with Stephen Bunting, it's all about self-belief. Does he believe he can win the World Matchplay title? I know he'll say he does, because he's very much of this positive thinking mindset, isn't he? Where and it's done wonders for him, where he says the right things. And I know he's got a sports psychologist, and I'm a Bunting fan, as you know. I really like Bunting, but I find one of my selections that we've not come to yet, I think, has gone from being in a mental space where they couldn't win a major to maybe where they could. I still think Bunting's maybe in that mental space where I don't know if he's quite ready to go and win the match play or quite ready to go and win the Worlds. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I don't think there's loads and loads of juice left at the price either. I think there's not necessarily anti-Bunting. I just think there's better value elsewhere, in my opinion. I wouldn't put you off because he is playing ever so well, but he still has to go and beat somebody like Luke Humphreys for me to really stand up and think this guy could win major titles. I want to see him beat Luke Humphreys at Blackpool, and then I'll be like, right, he's a serious contender now. Because I think I've been in the past guilty of maybe putting players that haven't quite got that mental fortitude to go and beat a top player in a massive game up. And I think I'm trying to learn my lesson there. So that's where I'm at with Bunting. I want to see it before I trust it.
Well, I think we should return to the top of the market because we're 11 minutes into a darts video and not really mentioned Littler or Humphreys at the moment. I think Littler's overall is without doubt the one to beat here. I know that's obvious. He's 2-1 favourite. I wouldn't be so surprised if he was shorter than that, to be honest with you, because he's got a spell over a lot of these players now. I think Bunting might be one of them.
Well, he did. He definitely did. Can I just interject there, because you're right. He might have been shorter. I think if you go back to the World Championships in December, January when he won it, and you told anyone he was going to go off 2-1 for the match play, they'd laughed you out of town. It was looking at one point like he might start going odds on for things. If it wasn't for Luke Humphreys, he'd be long odds on. However, Luke Littler has won 2 of the 18 events he's entered this year. Now, when you think of how good he was in the Premier League for long periods, that is actually quite hard to believe because he was winning most weeks. And some people would say that stat is, a little bit unfair because you're not factored in those Premier League night wins and stuff. But in terms of Pro Tours, Euro Tours, majors like the UK Open and stuff, any event that he turns up, enters, and there's a trophy at the end of it, he's only won 2 of the 18. He hasn't won any of his last 12. So to me, I think that 2-1 is right. I don't think he should be any shorter because it's all well and good. People will argue, well, he's only bothered about this and that. But I think turning form on and off like a light switch is hard. It is hard. You want to be backing a player that's coming confident, in form, playing well, because you're going to have to beat 5 good players to win this title. And if you haven't won for a while, or there's any niggling doubts, then they could be exposed in an arena like this. He's still not won the match play either, let's not forget. So there's still that, I want to complete the set kind of thing as quickly as I possibly can. And you could spin that as a motivational factor. But I also think, he'd probably be better at the World Championships where he's got the home comforts. He knows the surroundings. He knows he's done it. This is still a big one for him to tick off. And I don't think he comes here in absolutely flying fantastic form. Littler does have more huge losing averages than any other player. I think it's fair to say, like the amount of times we see him lose with a 106 or 107. But that is also because he has dips. He has legs off. He has questionable routes sometimes. And I think Littler needs to be at his brilliant best to win this tournament. And nothing to say he won't be at his brilliant best. But do I want to take 2-1 about him being at that brilliant best? I don't personally. I've been a little bit concerned with a couple of performances from him in the last couple of months. The social media posts about slating off crowds, slating off referees, slating off Dennis Priestley. I mean, just, I know he's 18, but come on, just keep your head down a little bit. You don't need to be doing that. That won't go off topic, but Dennis Priestley basically said that Humphreys and Littler had let the country down at the World Cup and he didn't like it. And
they probably did.
said they'd achieve. He said that he'd achieved more than Priestley had achieved in his entire career, which is not correct, factually. As much as I like Littler, that's not right.
My counter is though, because all you have to this point in the year is the UK Open, which is a lottery, and the Premier League, which is invite only and not ranked, in which Littler was majestic in. I think that is the form lines, the recent form. I think sometimes you have to take with a pinch of salt and just remember the cream rises to the top. Usually in these big TV tournaments, look, like I say, it's a long way. The Masters, I know, has had a revamp, but it is a long way from World Championship final day in the first Monday in January to the 19th of July. That's what I think. I think this format suits him down to the ground as well, the leg format.
Well, I ain't going to stand here and tell people Luke Littler can't win this World Matchplay. Absolutely not. But I'm going to stand here with my betting hat on and tell you that I've not seen enough from him, having not won any of the last 12 events, to say 2-1 is a steal. Now, there's some people who don't watch a lot of darts who will turn up, see Littler at 2-1 and say that is a steal. And if he goes and wins that tournament, it doesn't mean I was wrong and you were right. And if he doesn't win, it doesn't mean I was right, you were wrong.
You're counting these 12 events. Half of them are Euro tours, and half of them he don't play in, and half of them are Pro tours, and half of them he don't play in for 12.5 grand a day. It's not really.
I'm talking about the ones he's played in, though. So 12 he's actually turned up in and not won the trophy. Now, would I hold anybody else to those standards? No, but we're not. Littler isn't anybody else. He's supposed to be the unbeatable phenomenon that you can't take on. And I don't think he enters this tournament in that particular state of mind. Now, I'm not saying he can't win, but for me, 2-1, I'll pass.
Yep, fair enough. And Ryan still knows his way around the dartboard, and that's who Littler plays in the first game. Right, anything else you was to flag up outright as we look at the moment?
Well, let's just give some quick thoughts on the other guys that are up there at the top. I mean, Luke Humphries is 4-1. Worth mentioning as well, Price stuck.bet, fair play to them. They're pushing out Littler and Humphries on the outright market to 9-4 and 9-2. So if you get on with them, they do lay a bet temporarily as well. So, worth considering if you are back in one of the top two. Luke Humphries, conversely to Littler, has won 2 of the last 4 events he's entered. Obviously beat Littler in that Premier League final. Won the US Darts Masters. He was a bit tame on the Euro Tour last week, but I won't worry about that. Humphries, the defending champion here, of course, certainly enjoys the format. I got him down as a very good match player. I think the long format, Humphries is somebody who he doesn't panic when he loses a couple of legs. He just gets his head down and gets on with it. And nobody needs to explain to me why Luke Humphries has a good chance of winning this trophy. He's had a horrendous first round draw in Jan van Veen. Genuinely, Jan van Veen can beat anybody. Like most of the time, he's really, really good. So if it's not unfathomable that Humphries crashes out at round 1, so I wouldn't be going mad on the 4-1, but he has very solid prospects. Gerwyn Price, I think you could argue is the value of the 3 at 9-1. He's won 5 events this year, more than anybody else. For me, he's re-entered himself as a genuine World Championship contender this year. He said he was going to go away at the back end of 2024 and just have a little bit of a restart, try and fall in love with darts again, properly commit to it, commit to his practice, commit to his schedule. We've seen that. He's been really, really consistent. He made the Premier League finals night as well, was a break up on Littler in the semi-final before ultimately coming up short. So there's a lot to like about Gerwyn Price. He's in that quarter with Josh Rock, though, which is why I'm not putting him up. I'm expecting Rock and Price to meet in the quarterfinals. I think that could be an absolute spellbinding game of the tournament potential. And I'm with Rock at 16 over Price at 9, but it's not a strong opinion. It's not an anti-Price opinion. If I was back in one of the top 3, I think Gez is in as good a form as either of the Lukes, and I think at the Price is the way to go. We need your customary comment about Price never winning a major again. Just get that in there.
Well, we're coming up 3 years. We're coming up 3 years.
Coming up 4.
Oh, since I said it, yeah, I'll dig the tweet out. But yeah, I think I said it after the match play as well.
It'll be 3 years since you said it, but this will be so. Price's last major was the 2021 Grand Slam of Darts. So it's a shocking drought for someone of his ability.
3 years since I said
what I will give to Price is that I think by his own admission, 2023, 2024 were real low points for him. I think he had a massive issue with the crowd and dealing with the crowd. I think he's totally turned that now. I think he's actually getting good receptions at 90% of venues now. He's becoming a popular player. He's done some good media work showing that he's just a normal bloke, really. And I think that's done wonders for him. And I think time is a healer. You know, like, he was the pantomime villain. He still plays up to that when the time is right. But I think people actually quite like him for what he is now, you know. And I think seeing him, like, for me, it was really good when Gerwyn Price was giving it big uns against Littler. When everybody, you know, when we'd said a month at Ali Pali of everybody sort of like shaking his hand and being honoured to be on the same stage as him. And Price went and played him at the Bahrain Masters, was giving it fist pumps and right in his face. And I thought, this is brilliant. That's what you need. You know, I mean, he is the man to beat. You've got to give him some.
Well, I've said it, so I've got to stick with it, but I wouldn't say it again now.
No,
I wouldn't start by saying.
Well, I think if he wins this, you've been proven to be, like, you know, very much on the money with your observation that he was a declining player at the time. I actually think we've seen a decline, and we're now seeing the rise again. And you know, Gerwyn Price was 28-1 for the World Championships at this in January, and he's half that now, and he could go off single figures easily. So yeah, he's not somebody. If I wasn't already on Rock, I'd maybe have backed Price outright. That's kind of the way it goes with the draw, isn't it?
So who are you backing?
Rock. So I've backed Josh Rock, as I've said, and you know, I could talk about the ones just below these guys. We've already touched on Van Gerwen, of course, but I'll just skip straight to it. There are two more I like in the outright market at bigger prices. One of them is Jonny Clayton at 40-1. I think this is a man whose form is going bang under the radar, and I'm really, really pleased about that. He's having a great year. He's won on the Euro Tour. He's won on the floor. Some really, really good numbers from Clayton in the last few months and consistency. But like I say, he's not getting the fanfare with it. Now, Clayton is someone else who has had a bit of a fall and a rise for me. We all remember 2021, year of the Ferret. I think he won the Premier League, won the Masters, won the Grand Prix. He's genuinely dominating darts for a very brief period, and it was great. But the key with Jonny Clayton was he didn't want to give up his full-time job as a plasterer for Carmarthenshire Council or whatever it was. And about 12, 18 months ago, he decided to pack up and go full-time darts. And that had a negative impact on his darts, no doubt. He talked about it as well. He actually admitted that he really struggled when darts became his full-time job and his sole income. He struggled with that adjustment. And I think a lot of Clayton's success came from this kind of happy-go-lucky approach that he had in his early days, and very popular and very decent bloke as well. But also,
his dad as well.
Yeah, he did. Lost his dad. That definitely impacted him. You go and look at most of the number metrics for the last 3 months, and Clayton is right up there really high. And I like how under the radar he's going. Now, he is in that quarter you referenced for Stephen Bunting as a winnable quarter. And that's why I'm still very keen on Clayton at 40-1. And when we come to the quarter betting, you'll see again, I'm very keen on him in the quarter betting. Yeah, I'm expecting big things from Jonny Clayton. He's got Martin Schindler in round 1. It's a little bit of a worrying tie. Could go either way. If he comes through that, I see him in the semi-finals. So, yeah, 40-1 for Clayton, I like. The other one is, I already touched on it, somebody who I think now is maybe just coming into the headspace where they can win a major title. I'm seeing the disagreement.
Comes as no surprise to long-term viewers, all 12 of you out there. This will come as no surprise that Pie Man is putting up Damon Heta.
Yes, I am. But I think I've been honest with my appraisals of Damon's career, I think. And you know what a big fan I am of him and how capable I think he is. But there was a period last year where I sort of said to myself, I don't know if he's quite ready to win a major. But now I do. I really do. I mean, we're now talking about the 7th ranked player in the world. How consistent is this man on every level as well? Like, look at his major performance last year. It was career best. He's made semi-finals of majors, quarterfinals of majors now, and he just continues to be consistent. I think he is, nobody can argue, he is on the cusp of the Premier League here. If he wins one of these, he's in the Premier League for me. And he might find himself in anywhere with a couple of deep runs. And that'll be merited. He's done it the hard way, hasn't he? He's grinded his way up. I mean, I think we interviewed Damon when he was ranked 62nd or something during COVID. We interviewed him again when he was 40th. And it's just been that rise. And I really admire his ability to kind of keep pushing for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and not being happy with where he's at. And also he's had to field a lot of difficult questions from people about his major record and his ability to actually go all the way and win a big one. And I just think his answers and the way he conducts himself now, particularly in the last year, it looks to me like he's so close to making that step. And ultimately, you do need a little bit of luck in these majors, particularly early on. You're gonna get engrossed in a tight game somewhere in your first couple of rounds, and you just need to come out on the right side of it. But in terms of actually bringing his best to the biggest stage, there's no better example than when he played Luke Littler at the UK Open in 2023 and absolutely wiped the floor with him. 109 average, I think it was. One of the best TV performances I've ever seen. And I think that he's shown now that that's not a flash in the pan. What I like about Heta is his B game is so good as well. There's a lot of players in this field that I look at them and think, oh, if they have a stinker, they're gone. He can get through with a 90 average, just grinding his way through. And he's doing it more and more now. And I do think that I'm going to end up, as much as you might find it amusing, backing him for the next 3 or 4 majors, because I think that breakthrough is really, really close. And I think at 50-1, you can afford to take the chance. What I will point out here is the way to play Heta here is 50-1, 4 places with the sponsors. If you can get on Betfred, they're going quarter odds, 4 places on each way betting, whereas everyone else is half odds for 2 places. So it means that he only has to get to the semis for a 12.5-1 payout. Whereas if you back into in the quarter, as we're going to come on to, is 9-1. So if you can take advantage of that Betfred angle and you like Heta's prospects are going deep, I think, that might be the way to look at it. But yeah, I think he's at the price. He's definitely got to be in my book.
Right, we've touched on quite virtually all the players so far, Pyman. So we're going to spin through the quarters, and if there's any quarter betting, and then hopefully we've got time for a couple of first-round match bets. Quarter ones where Luke Humphrey is. He's 11-8, plays Van Veen in the first round, who's 9-2. I think that tells a story in its own right, really, of the 8 players in there. The first and third favourites are playing each other in the first game.
Yeah, Nathan Aspinall, the other one that's expected to kind of meet Humphreys or Van Veen in that quarter final. He's 92 for the quarter as well. I actually like one at a bigger price here. I like Wessel Nijman at 10-1. He takes on Aspinall in that first game. And I think that's a very high pressure game for Nathan Aspinall. He won this tournament 2 years ago. He's defending £200,000 of ranking money. And just to give you some context there, he's currently in the top 8 of the world on the rankings. In the World Championship race, if he was to go out round 1 here, he'd currently be ranked 17th. That's the drop that he's facing. Now, Aspinall is in fantastic form and he's having a brilliant year. I'm so pleased to see him, come back from the dartitis the way he has, arguably playing the best he's ever played. If he gets through this first round game, he's a title contender. But when there's so much pressure on one game, the last person you want to be playing is a young lad with nothing to lose. Nijman is a dangerous underdog, really dangerous. I mean, I wouldn't want to back Wessel Nijman in a game he's expected to win at short odds, but when he's an underdog, and nothing's really fancied of him, this lad can score with anybody. It's all going to be how quickly he takes to the occasion and whether he settles. If he goes 3-0 down early, he's in trouble. If he goes 3-0 up early, I think Aspinall's going to have a real tough time catching him. And if he comes through that game, his second round game is with Wade or Cullen. Very, very attractive second round game, in my opinion. Wade in good form, but not to be feared, in my opinion, especially someone with Nijman's scoring capabilities. So at 10-1, I'm happy to get him on side for a point. That's the way I play this quarter. I think that Humphreys Van Veen game, very, very good watch for the neutral.
Yeah, on to quarter 2. And we've not mentioned this man yet. Gary Anderson, another one of anyone who's playing Pieman Bingo out there. Gary Anderson, Damon Heta. He just keeps doing it. Anderson, just under the radar for the last couple of years. I think he's basically been half retired, but is playing well, so that's keeping him going. I think the next time he comes to a roadblock in his career, he'll jack it in personally. But yeah, he's just plugging away. He's right bang in there with the averages with the best of them, and he's 5-2 to win quarter 2.
Yeah, because he's in this favourable looking quarter, he has been well backed in the market. You still get 22-1 outright on Anderson, but there is general 16s is the price now for him. I just have my stamina concerns. The same things I said about him at the World Championship. I think on an individual match basis, Gary Anderson plays anywhere near his best. He beats pretty much anyone, bar the Lukes. But yeah, stamina. Look, he made the Euro Tour final at the weekend and he was in with Gerwyn Price and he was crap, to be honest, in the final. Lost 8-3, 80-something average. And that's the worry I have. He's going to have to play 5 top-class matches in 8 days here. Would you be surprised to see Anderson win his first couple? I mean, he's got Luke Woodhouse round 1. He could smash him and he could be 10s for the title. But it's the latter rounds where I worry about him. He did have one great ding-dong with Littler last year. You might remember at the Grand Slam. where he come on the wrong side of, I think it was 18-16. It was a cracking game. I'd backed Anderson and watched it on replay. I'm going off topic here, but my missus ruined the result for me by saying, "Oh, you'll be gutted about that." And I was actually watching the replay and didn't know the score, so I was fuming. But anyway, yeah, so he can do it on a one-off match basis, but I don't know if he could go all the way. So I think you've got to have a bet in this quarter. You made the case for Bunting. I'm going to make the case for Clayton again here, 9-2. I don't need to repeat myself. I think he's in really good form under the radar. I think if he comes through that tricky opener with Schindler, which is, a possible dangerous game, then I think he could go all the way through to the semi-finals here, Jonny Clayton. And I really like this bet, 9-2.
Yep, fair enough. He's 4-6 to beat Schindler in that first round game. In quarter three, no surprises. Luke Littler, 8-15 to win this quarter, i.e. to make the semi-final. And he plays Ryan Searle in the first game and Peter Wright or Jermaine Wattimena in the second game.
Well, the reason that Littler is 8-15 this quarter is because it looks like his first two games are as close as you'll get to bankers. I like Ryan Searle, and I don't want to disrespect him, but he's struggled with consistency in recent times. We'll have to see the best of Searle if he's going to beat Littler. If we do see the best of Searle, it could be a cracking game. But yeah, Wright or Wattimena in round two, absolutely no fears there, really, for Littler. He smacked Jermaine Wattimena at the Grand Slam when he was in good form, 16-2 or something ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, Jermaine was in good form for that.
Yeah, he was. And, fancied to go well in that game, and Littler just wiped the floor with him. Peter Wright can't be trusted. We all know what he's like. You don't want to completely ignore him.
He'll come out this week, do an interview, say he's going to win this.
Yeah, he will. He will. And then he probably will. And we'll all be like, what the hell's going on? What is life? But all seriousness, it looks like Littler's going to be in that quarterfinal. So the only way to play this quarter is to who do you think is going to be in him with that quarterfinal? And I've already said it. I think Damon Heta, 9-1 for this quarter. I think I could be getting 9-1 on Damon Heta to beat Luke Littler here. It is my gut feeling. The one I would fear most in the quarter is probably Dirk van Duijvenbode, actually. I think he's finding a little bit of form. I just question whether Dirk is capable of winning 3 or 4 matches in a row in a major at the moment, but he's definitely in the best place he's been for a long time. So yeah, I would respect Van Duijvenbode, but I think 9-1 about Heta, you may effectively find yourself on 9-1 for him to beat Littler come midway through the tournament.
Yep, and in the final quarter, we've touched on it. I think Van Gerwen's got an easy first game, gets harder thereafter, of course. Chris Dobey, a man that we've not mentioned yet, ranked 6 in the world. What did you make of quarter 4, where Gerwyn Price is your 9-4 favourite? Yeah,
it's a no bet for me. I'm on Rock outright, but I don't fancy him enough to go in again here when he has, a few dangers, particularly Gerwyn Price. Van Gerwen, we talked about possibly being overlooked. You could make a case for that. Over 4-1 on Van Gerwen, getting that onside, given we both expect him to get past Barney, no issues.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
But it's a no bet for me. Look, the three, all merit I mentioned, don't they? Quick mention, Chris Dobey, 11-2. Again, when I reference players that maybe don't have it to go all the way and win, but in an individual match-by-match basis can beat anyone, he falls bang into that category at 11-2. So he'd be dangerous if he bumps into anyone. Ross Smith's having a very good year under the radar, but not quite winning enough as he should be. And Daryl Gurney, fantastic at the World Cup, reborn again. He's been good on the Euro Tour, good on the floor since, not a flash in the pan. He plays Gerwyn Price in his opener. Possible upset watch there.
He'll be bang up for that as well.
He will, yeah. They've got some history. They've had some really good games. And they met in the World Cup final, of course, as well recently. So there's a little bit of an undercurrent to that game. Looking forward to it. It is a no bet for me. I am on Rock outright.
So what are the first round match bets? The odds are out for all 16 games. Usually, Pie Man, I would say that there is one standout match in round one, given that the nature of, but they're all good. They're all good players. Don't get me wrong, but there's not the one standout match, is there, this year?
Maybe Humphreys Van Veen, maybe.
Yeah, that probably is the one.
It needs Van Veen to play well, though, doesn't it, to be a standout match?
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Does. And he's not quite known to the wider market, But
yeah.
I mean, previous years we've had. I mean, Rock would fit the bill this year. He could have drawn a Luke as an unseeded player and didn't. But previously we've had the likes of Heta was the not seeded but making waves. Yeah, we haven't quite got that single standout game, if you ask me.
Yeah. I think Humphreys Van Veen could be fireworks, and I think Price Gurney actually could be a cracker as well if Gurney turns up. But yeah, I agree with you. In terms of match betting, obviously I won't go mega in depth, but if I was picking out a fourfold of sort of players I expect to win for somebody just to give them a bit of an interest, I would probably go Van Gerwen, I think, to beat Barney. I think we're both agreed that looks a really good price. Jonny Clayton to beat Martin Schindler for reasons stated. I'm expecting big things from Clayton. And then Heta, I can't see Andrew Gilding giving him any problems in round one. And then if I was going to add one more on, maybe Dirk van Duijvenbode to beat Rob Cross for the upset would be, I mean, Van Duijvenbode currently 11-10. Yes. I think that's that's an attractive price, and if you're dealing big singles, that would probably be the one at odds against that stands out. Just to counteract what you said as well, I'd give a mention for Ryan Joyce 3-1 against Stephen Bunting, a very dangerous match player, often underlooked in these markets, could make it competitive. But yeah, it's a stretch. Like I say, this is a competitive old field. There's not loads of match value for me. But yeah, they'd be the four I would probably perm together if I was looking for a bit of value, and I think that pays. Just around 6-1.
Yeah, 5.87 to 1. Yeah, Van Gerwen, Clayton, Heta, and Dirk to win their first round games. 5.87 to 1. All the bets will be in the description as usual. There's probably going to be some sort of written content over at oddsnow.com.
There will be.
Matt, the best.
We're in between websites at the minute. So whether it'll be the new Odds Now or the old Odds Now, who knows? But there will be match play content now.
There will be plenty of horses content there as well. I'm sitting here in my Racers Now t-shirt, as I usually do. So I've been loaned to Odds Now for the day, but we'll be back on over on Racers Now as usual with the enigmatic and self-styled main man SD. So look forward to that as well. But good to be coming over to Odds Now to talking a bit of darts with you. Yeah, good to have you, and looking forward to the match play. Fingers crossed we can have some winners. Right, well, good luck with your bets, everybody, and we'll be back soon here on oddsnow.com.